I did not sleep after Vanessa sent the insurance photograph. I remained in the kitchen until sunrise staring at the scanned document, while every conversation from the previous year replayed differently in my mind. Daniel insisting on helping organize paperwork after Eleanor died. Daniel offering to manage digital accounts because I was old-fashioned. Daniel repeatedly asking questions about policies, beneficiaries, and estate planning while pretending concern for my future. None of it had been random. He was mapping my life financially piece by piece like an investor studying acquisition targets. By 7 in the morning, Richard arrived at the farmhouse after I forwarded him the photograph. The moment he saw the document, his expression hardened immediately. "This changes things again," he said quietly. He examined the policy details carefully, then called Carla and 2 investigators before even sitting down. Within an hour, my kitchen looked like a temporary operations center. Laptops covered the table. Phone calls moved constantly between insurance fraud departments and prosecutors. Carla traced the policy modification request through digital authorization logs and discovered it originated from the same device Daniel used during the bank transfers. Worse still, the request included forged identity verification recordings generated using edited clips of my voice. He attempted synthetic authorization, Carla explained. Crude version, but enough to bypass weaker systems temporarily. I stared at her blankly. Explain that in normal language. Your son tried digitally impersonating you to control your life insurance. Hearing it stated plainly somehow sounded even uglier. Richard leaned back slowly in his chair. This no longer looks like financial panic, he said. This looks like long-term predatory planning. Around midday, Melissa Grant from the prosecutor's office joined us through video call. She reviewed the insurance evidence carefully before speaking. This substantially strengthens intent arguments, she explained. Especially combined with the property transfer paperwork and financial exploitation timeline. Then she paused before adding something that tightened my chest instantly. We are also examining whether additional fraudulent accounts or liabilities exist under your identity. I looked at Richard immediately. Additional accounts. Melissa nodded. People engaged in this pattern often expand gradually once systems work successfully. Credit lines. Loans. Hidden transfers. We need to verify exposure fully. Exposure. Another clean professional word covering something rotten underneath. By afternoon, investigators uncovered 2 credit cards opened under my name 18 months earlier. Both carried balances near their limits. One funded luxury retail purchases. The other covered travel expenses and restaurant charges. Payment histories showed Daniel maintaining minimum balances, just enough to avoid attention. He had been quietly using my identity long before the major theft happened. Carla printed transaction summaries and spread them across the table. Your son didn't suddenly become criminal during the Maldives trip, she said. He evolved into it. That sentence stayed with me the rest of the day. People imagine betrayal as dramatic transformation, but real corruption usually grows slowly through repeated compromise. Small lies become hidden debts. Hidden debts become fraud. Fraud becomes entitlement. Eventually conscience disappears completely beneath rationalization. Daniel probably crossed moral lines years ago, without noticing exactly when he stopped caring. Around 4 o'clock, another call came unexpectedly. This time from Daniel himself, using a monitored legal communication line approved temporarily through his attorney. Richard listened silently beside me while I answered on speakerphone. Daniel sounded exhausted for the first time since this began. Not arrogant. Not manipulative. Drained. Dad, he said quietly, please hear me out. You have 30 seconds. He inhaled sharply. Vanessa's talking to investigators now. She's blaming everything on me. Were you expecting loyalty from someone who helped rob your father? Silence followed briefly. I know what I did was wrong. No, I replied evenly. You know you got caught. His breathing changed slightly after that. Then his voice hardened. You think prison fixes anything? You think destroying me brings Mom back? There it was. Emotional weaponization. The final refuge of guilty people losing control. Do not use your mother to defend theft, I said coldly. You lost that right. Daniel became quiet again. Then he asked the question I knew would come eventually. How much do they actually know? Not how are you? Not can we repair this? How much do they know? Even now, his primary instinct remained damage assessment. Richard wrote something quickly on a notepad and slid it toward me. Keep him talking. Enough, I answered carefully. Including the insurance policy. Complete silence followed for nearly 10 seconds. Then Daniel whispered something I barely heard. Vanessa sent that. It was not a question. It was realization. Yes. Another long silence. Then suddenly his tone changed entirely. Panic replaced calculation. Dad, listen to me carefully. If Vanessa starts giving them everything, this gets much worse. Worse for who? For everyone. Richard wrote another note immediately. Ask why. Explain. Daniel exhaled shakily. There are things connected to other people now. Money movement. Investments. I can fix some of this if we stop pushing prosecutors. My stomach tightened instantly. Other people. He realized too late what he had admitted. I shouldn't have said that. Who else is involved, Daniel? Dad, who? The line disconnected. Richard grabbed his phone immediately and began calling Melissa before I even set mine down. Within 30 minutes investigators traced what Daniel implied. Part of the stolen money had moved through accounts connected to a man named Victor Moreno, a nightclub owner already under federal financial scrutiny for unrelated laundering activity. Daniel had apparently attempted hiding portions of the funds through short-term investment rotations Victor arranged unofficially for cash-heavy clients. In simple terms, my son stole retirement money from his widowed father and accidentally pushed part of it through networks connected to organized financial crime. Richard looked genuinely stunned while reviewing the reports. Your son is catastrophically out of his depth. By evening, federal investigators officially expanded involvement. What began as family financial exploitation was now attached to a broader financial crimes review. Melissa called personally afterward. Daniel probably just made the worst mistake of his life during that phone call, she said. Why? Because he confirmed knowledge of additional concealed transfers while attempting obstruction discussion. I sat down slowly after hearing that. Every day revealed another hidden layer beneath the previous one. The son I thought I knew no longer existed anywhere inside this situation. Maybe he had disappeared years earlier. Maybe I simply refused seeing reality, because fathers confuse history with character. Later that night, I finally did something I had avoided since Eleanor's death. I opened the old cedar chest containing her letters and photographs. For hours I sat alone reading memories from earlier decades before money, manipulation, and greed poisoned everything. In one photograph, Daniel stood beside me at age 9 holding a fish we caught together at the lake. He looked genuinely happy. Innocent. I kept staring at that child's face trying to identify when exactly ambition turned into entitlement. When admiration became resentment. When family became opportunity. Near midnight, another message arrived unexpectedly. This time from Carla. You need to see this tomorrow morning. Important. No explanation attached. Just that sentence. I responded asking what happened.